Hi all. Everything in my video is pulled from the public domain, and I am using them under the Fair Use, Fair Dealings guidelines. Everything I say is my own opinion. You should look into this information for yourselves, but I'm pretty sure I'm right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Saturday morning to you. Yes, these are going to be 3 long videos because we're doing updates. We're doing a Netflix update. We're doing an Invictus update. There's a lot happening here. So stick with me because we're going to try to put it all together so that we're ready for the next Invictus games, okay? This is a stark reminder of what the hell went on last year. A big thank you to Bren Martin on Twitter for this fabulous photo. All right, let's jump in and get there because we really do have a lot to cover today, okay? Let's go. To start with, we're going back to those Newcom patches again. Remember, Meghan Markle had it on her wrist, and then Newcom put up a post and said, look, Meghan Markle's using it free for 7 days. Then they came out and said, we are absolutely not working with her. A claim which I highly doubt, because Meghan Markle would never allow a company that she's not involved with in some way to merch off of her. Maybe she's a new investor. Who knows? Anyway, a blind item came out. Well, it appears the FTC is doing an investigation to see if what she did should have been labeled an ad. That could cause a real problem, you guys. Like, that's a legal thing. The company could be fined. It could all blow up. We'll keep an eye on this. Moving on. Next up, remember there was talk about where did Meghan's engagement ring go? And the Mirror is so pro Meghan, it's not funny. And they put out that she took it off because she wanted to look less flashy. This from a woman who wears a pinky blood diamond. Are you kidding? Something else is going on here. All right, moving on. Next up, I spoke to you guys already about Congressman Greg Staub and the fact that he was doing something called the SPARE Act. Well, Dan Wooten had him on and spoke to him. Listen to this.
Job memoir Spare. So Republican Stubbe has introduced a new act requiring fair enforcement of American visa laws. The cheekily named Spare Act references the Duke specifically, with Stubbe writing, left-wing celebrities like Prince Harry, who have a self-recorded history of illegal drug use, should be subjected to the same standards and enforcement of our country's immigration laws as any other alien. So Greg Stubbe, welcome to the show. This act could actually see Prince Harry deported from America, couldn't it?
Yeah, I think he's got some challenges to overcome. The first is we don't allow drug abusers into our country, and the second is we don't allow people who lie on their visa application into our country. So I think he's going to have some challenges either way. Obviously, the White House and the Biden administration is refusing to give his visa application to the American people. Heritage Action has filed a lawsuit on that, so that'll go through the court process. And if we do, in fact, find out that he lied on that visa application, this bill would prohibit him from being able to stay in the United States.
And Greg, what has been the reaction to the SPARE Act on Capitol Hill?
Well, everything I've heard has been supportive. We have the House. We have the majority in the House of Representatives. So something like this is very common sense, very reasonable. It's current law that we don't allow those who abuse drugs to come in and receive visas. And if he lied on his visa application, obviously that's going to be a basis for removal. So he's going to have some challenges to be able to show one way or the other. He's kind of put into a corner. And it'll be very interesting to see how the Heritage lawsuit is if we are able to get his visa application and see, in fact, if it was, if he did say that he's never abused drugs, and then he obviously has the admissions in his book that he has. We shouldn't have a different standard for celebrities or anybody else. We should have the same standard regardless of who you are. And this administration is obviously allowing a different standard and refusing to actually give the application. If there's nothing to hide, why not give us the application when it's been requested?
But Congressman, isn't the reality here that Prince Harry knows he is protected by President Biden? And you'll know that Meghan and Harry actually broke all royal protocols by actually campaigning for Biden against Trump at the last election.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's certainly become very political, and to change the rules for people that support President Biden just because they want to allow him to come into the country in violation of our immigration laws is certainly not the way that it should go. So there should be a fair process, regardless of who you are, regardless of where you come from. It should be applied equally under the law. And at some point, we're going to get to the bottom of it. If Heritage's lawsuit is successful, we'll know exactly what that visa application says, and if it's dishonest or lying to the American people and to the American public about what that says, I think there's going to be a lot to say there.
Now, I want to take a quick look back at Prince Harry after something I saw today. We know that I hate to say it, but it's true. He was the Queen's favorite grandson, and we know that his mother gave him extra attention because she knew William would be king. We know that with the palace spin machine, the palace taking care of his PR, everybody in the UK loved him. He was the most popular royal. He was just this fabulous guy. But since he married Meghan Markle, let's be obvious, things have not gone well for him. He has abandoned his family. He has abandoned his country. Initially, he turned his back on his family. Now it's pretty obvious they have cut him off. Now, it's being reported, and we've seen this, that Harry has made multiple offers wanting to call a truce, but it appears, if that's true, the royal family has said no way. We know that he's turned his back on all of his charity work, and that's not doing his reputation any good. We know that he's been dumped by his fans in the UK, and now he's being dumped by his fans in the US. He's lost his friends. Look what happened with the Beckhams. He accused David's wife of doing something simply because Meghan said it happened. So now all of his A-lister friends are gone. And then he and Meghan took it to the next step. And we all know that in an attempt to bring down the royal family, they've told a bunch of lies on the Oprah show. We found out, oh my God, she said so many things about her sister that were untrue. Harry said, oh, my dad cut me off, but forgot to mention his dad gave him millions before that, and on it goes. And who could forget then when Harry gave the interview to Tom Bradby on ITV saying that Meghan never said it was racism, we never said racism, we said unconscious bias. I'm sure you guys noticed that he wouldn't just come out and say Meghan got it wrong. Instead, it was, it's unconscious bias. But he lied. He was talking about racism. We're not stupid. I mean, without the palace PR spin machine, to cultivate his image, Harry, who has accused the royal family of racism, is the only person that came out in a Nazi uniform and the only person that's come out making racial slurs against a fellow soldier. But yet he's claiming somebody in the family is racist, right? We know that professionally they've lost their Spotify deal and the Netflix deal is in danger of not being renewed. Their brand is poison. I mean, look how quickly Dior backed out the second their name was associated with Harry and Meghan. Did you guys notice that? Nobody wants to be associated with them because nobody wants their brand on an ad that right above it talks about racism and all this other stuff that they're spewing constantly. Even celebrities, the second their name is linked with Harry and Meghan, like, oh, they just happen to be walking in and having sushi. This person, these A-listers are coming out saying, no, they might have been in the same restaurant, but they weren't together. Nobody wants to be associated. Then you've got his court case where the judge said, and I'm quoting, his evidence was vague and limited, and he threw the phone hacking portion right out the window. These cases make him look like a spoiled child who's trying to get even with somebody. Then you've got The Spare, which was such a big bestseller and is now the #1 discarded book in the world. And while the book was hyped up, they're saying that this book really is of no consequence. 100 years from now, nobody's looking at it. And after all of this, now the rumors are out that there's marital issues. Harry's already contacted a divorce attorney. I wouldn't be surprised if he had. And we've all heard the rumors how Harry has a hotel room on tap. But let's be honest, all they've done for 5 years is moan and groan and play victim. So just remember, Harry moved his family to America to get out of the royal fishbowl, for privacy, for safety, for security. Really? Now his kids have royal titles and he's having to hustle to make money. That just goes to show that the grass isn't always greener. All right, guys, that is the end of video #1. Come and join me next for video number 2. Let's go.